Hi, everybody. I decided to have another hangout tonight, and I invited a good friend Peter from Gonna Go For It, and guess who also showed up is Jackson Wheat. If you haven't ever seen his channel, go to it and subscribe to it because he's done a lot of good stuff on there. But anyway, I want to talk about how Science Apologetics kind of pissed me off. Where people, I don't know, where they spew out crap there that basically tries to, I don't know if they actually try to fool you, but I see how it can fool some people into thinking that it's the actual thing in there. But anyway, how are you doing, Peter?
I'm doing fine. I told people I was going to turn on my webcam. So
that's right.
What do you think? What do you think? Shall I show my face?
It's up to you, I guess.
I dressed up for the occasion because
I think it's pretty cool.
We were going to talk about apologetics, and so the favorite topic I think of creationists is dinosaurs. So I dressed up as a dinosaur. So what do you think? Do I look the part? Can you see me?
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah. Okay, because it doesn't switch to my camera when I'm talking. Funny enough.
Looks crazy.
Okay. Well, hey, I can see myself in Twitter DM. That's cool. Okay, at least it's working. Now people have seen me, and so now they can call me the lizard on Twitter, I guess.
Well, there you have it. There is a such thing as soft tissues that they discovered.
Yeah. I'm all dinosaur soft tissue.
We have a personal relationship with dinosaur soft tissue.
Yeah.
I didn't know
that. I have to say that I just got a tweet that I should take care of makeup, and I already did that. And Jackson was good enough to tell me which colors to use. So if I'm a little bit off color, I think that's because Jackson told me these were the correct colors of a velociraptor.
Well, so there are no correct colors. That was from what I imagined. I actually read Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park a few years ago, and in it his velociraptors looked like cheetahs or leopards, one of those. And so they had like, it was because they were trying to find like analogs of modern mammals, like in dinosaurs. He was trying to make that kind of concept.
Yeah, because having them look like chickens wouldn't be correct.
That's the question about T-Rex, isn't it? Were they giant, terrifying, scaly dinosaurs or giant chickens?
I'm still going with the chickens, because chickens just they walk just like dinosaurs do.
They got beaks though, don't they? And no teeth. I don't know.
Yeah, they actually.
I saw this clip of a chicken with a they put on some sort of a dinosaur tail on it and had it run, and that was kind of cool.
Huh.
Well, chickens are really interesting. There's an old phrase, scarce as hen's teeth. Because like chickens birds don't normally have teeth, but you can induce the mutation you can induce a mutation that causes the atavism for their like teeth to develop, or at least enamel to develop, because birds are dinosaurs. And you can also change the palate to that of an archosaur, more like a crocodile, if you mess with certain mutations in them, which is what a paper did a little while back, or a group of scientists did a little while back. which was very neat.
I'm just thinking because a former coworker of mine had chickens that were so big they almost came waist high. He had a rooster that came almost waist high. He called it Rambo, and he kept those in the middle of town. He had a small patch of land where he had a horse, and he had those chickens, and the chickens actually protected the horse. No one dared to go near the horse in fear of the chicken. The chicken was ferocious, so the rooster was. So if that one would have had teeth, that'd be awesome.
The ultimate guard dog, a giant.
Yeah, I'm still. I forgot to put on the live stream because I'm actually curious if are there people in the chat right now?
Not at the moment from what I can see.
One watching now. But that could be. I have to use my other guy. Yeah, it's probably just the other guy that I'm using. Hey, I heard Paul Gia just got back from his vacation or whatever from the what was it? Where did he go? To Eric Hoven's?
No.
Oh, he went to Answers in Genesis.
He went to the Creation Museum.
Yeah, I saw it on his Facebook page.
He was live in one of his upcoming episodes. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, okay.
That is really cool. Yeah, get to go over there to Kentucky. That's quite a drive for him.
Oh man,
from Canada it is. But he was there on business. That's what I got because I keep forgetting when it was. He was in a live stream, I think, with the Great Debate Community.
Oh yeah.
And that's where he told that he was going there. So and he got to talk to some of the people of Answers in Genesis. So I teased him if they would now sell DVDs with ham and eggs episodes in the gift shop, but he didn't respond to that. I'll have to ask him again because that I think I would have pitched that.
I'd be buying it.
Yeah.
At least they would have had better news than they usually have. Is it just me, or is Ken Ham getting to be more and more a grumpy old man when he's doing Answers News?
He seems to. I mean, from what I know of him, I didn't really watch him a long time ago, but from what I see of him, he seems like he's using more pejoratives with his words and trying to be negative about people that are talking bad about him, I think.
Yeah, they just I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that they just kind of harumph all opposition. If you disagree, well, that's just they have their set of little phrases they say, like, oh, that's just your interpretation. You're not wearing your God glasses or what have you. You don't have to.
Oh, I hate that word.
You don't have to really apply any thought to any argument as long as it falls within like one of those categories, or you can apply that phrase. And then,
but everything is now the fault of the atheists. And I'm
that's what I was gonna say. I noticed a lot about his tweets and stuff or whatever.
The darn hurricane caused by the atheists.
Wasn't that because of the gay?
Oh yeah.
Mayor of Austin?
The gay atheist, baby.
There was Ann Coulter actually said.
Yes.
You saw that, Johnny?
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
Oh my God! I can't. I mean, I say I can't believe it, but yes, I can. I can believe she would say something like that. It makes more sense that God would send a hurricane to kill a whole bunch of people other than the mayor, then global warming exists.
If there is a hell, I'd end up being married to her for eternity. That's all I have to say.
Just how does one even rationalize that?
You're totally disconnected. She's totally disconnected from a lot of things. Yeah, who knows? I think she does it for the money, to be honest with you. I think she makes a lot of money out of being that way.
You're probably right. Yeah, I mean, she wrote a whole book for Donald Trump, so you're right. She does get paid to do that.
I mean, if I was to become my evil doppelganger, that's what I would do, is write things like that. I would totally just, people buy it. They love it and they eat it up, and I don't know why, but that's just the way it is.
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah.
Someone like that wouldn't make money, I think, here, because people just would be disgusted, I think. But
you're a lot less indoctrinated in your country, I'm guessing.
I don't know. It's the same with the news. If you watch the news here, and if one of the channels would bring you fake news, they'll lose people watching, because that's not what's acceptable here. And I don't get it that that's not the fact in the US. I think in the US, sensation maybe is more favorable to get more viewers in. I guess I don't know.
No, it's the downsizing of the TV networks and all that. I mean, what is it, in somewhere around late 80s or whatever, Reagan turned the FFC or whatever into something like that. But what do we have? 5 major networks in the whole world, basically. So that's where it all gets filtered from what they want you to see. And well, I haven't watched TV, and it's at least 5 years now. I haven't flipped on the TV channel on any station for 5 years. I don't miss it one bit.
The only time I watch TV is when I'm casting from my computer. That's the only thing I do at the moment. I set up a stream with stuff I want to watch, and that's basically it.
I do take that back, though. I actually watch my favorite football team lose. That's about it on TV.
Oh, and I watch Formula One, but I guess not an American around who knows what Formula One is.
Yeah, not really.
It's wait a minute. You guys have the Indy cars.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
And that's the rest of the world drives Formula One. The Americans seem to have their own sports for some reason.
Yeah.
But and there's actually an American team in Formula One. Haas, do you know that team? I think they drive in Indy cars as well. I'm not sure.
I can't say that I do.
Okay. Well, that it doesn't have anything to do with creation science. So
no.
Okay. Hey.
Oh wait, the fuel in there.
Keith joined us. I think Keith and I had a chat quite recently.
Oh.
Keith made me thinking, because I said something that wasn't correct, and I'm with everything that happened in the past weekend and the start of the week, I didn't get to that, so I still owe Keith some homework.
But
you guys, I think it's very funny. Did the creationist I've been sparring with for a while, the one I was telling you guys about earlier, he actually just sent me on Facebook an article about a quote a creationist who was fired after he claimed to, or after he found soft tissue in dinosaur bones. It says
I think that was from Mary. I think that was a claim that they fired Mary for that. Well, maybe not. I can't.
No, it wasn't Mary. It was this guy. His name is Mark Armitage.
Okay.
And it's really funny because I went to a less biased source than that, and it seems more like city complaining verbally of it's the issue is not that he was fired for his creationism. I can almost guarantee that's not the issue.
Yeah.
It seems more that it says his contract was up for renewal and they decided not to renew it. Yeah.
And why would he lie about why he was fired? That's what.
He is one of many of there are so many other creationists and intelligent design advocates who say, "Oh, boo-hoo me! I've been fired and blacklisted by the evolutionist system." But then you actually read into what really happened, and it turns out, no, they were doing illegal stuff, or they were not doing their job.
It's amazing how they can twist just a couple little words and turn it around into something different. So yeah.
Yeah, there's like you guys know the Bible Reloaded?
Yep.
Yeah, they did their video expelled, no education allowed, I think, or no intelligence allowed. That's what it was. And so Ben Stein talks to several people, or talks about several people who claim to have been fired because they were religious or they weren't evolutionists. And then Hugo and Jake said, no, turns out these guys were fired because they didn't do their job. Not because they were religious. Their religion had absolutely nothing to do with this.
And like you said too, what are they going to replace evolution with? I mean, if evolution is proved wrong today, it's what their whole goal is to prove that God exists. And it's even if they proved evolution wrong, that still doesn't prove that God exists. So I don't even know where they're going with it. It's kind of funny.
In their mind, it does. If you can show that the opponent is wrong, well, ergo, you're correct. Which is, I mean, of course, a false dichotomy, as you guys know. But in their mind, that's not an issue because it's us or them. And if it's not them, then it's us.
It seems so easy to think that way, but I guess people just they're
Could it be that they just go about it like they do with other religions, just shoot holes in what the other people think, and that way your religion is the most credible? Because that's the only reason. Even if you're in a discussion and you say, well, let's, for the sake of argument, assume that evolution is fake. So now what? And then they get aggressive because they've got nothing to attack anymore. I had that with the Muslim last week. He got aggressive. No, you can't do that. So why can't I do that? I said, for the sake of argument, let's assume that evolution is debunked and it's not true. So now can we get to evidence for your Allah? And
what, none?
Yeah, nothing.
Well, it's self-evident, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's written in your heart.
No.
Fallacy of reification.
No. He came with the best evidence for Allah. Go look outside. Go look at the trees, and that's
evidence
why.
There's outside out there. That's all it shows me.
That's why I hate talking to Muslims, because they're not even fun. They're they're running so much behind on what the Christians have. They need to catch up. They're still stuck with Harun Yahya, who's basically still working the stuff that Kent Hovind put out 10 years before he went to prison, I think. Have you ever seen a book of Harun Yahya, Jackson? Or a video?
No, I have seen clips of his video. He did one a number of years ago with a woman in a lab coat who said,
You saw entirely the wrong video.
the wrong one?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, he's basically the Hugh Hefner of creationists, and he has all his Playboy models around him in his videos with huge fake breasts and huge fake lips.
Join Islam, you get women. Hey, nothing wrong with
that.
Yeah.
And normally they have to be covered up, and these are pretty much stripped down to the bare minimum. So I don't know how that's going down in Muslim countries, but you'll have to watch a couple of videos because it's fun. It's looking it's more like a guy who has several blow-up dolls around him, and they actually speak. So
no, we don't want him to speak.
It's great watching it. He has this academy with all great-looking guys and what they think are great-looking women. I don't know. Artificial women, I think.
Artificial women?
Yeah.
If they make one that doesn't speak, I'm all for it. Just kidding. Just kidding, any women out there.
it's all silicone. It's yeah.
Oh,
maybe I'm too old for this, but it's not something that I'm drawn to.
I'm willing to try anything once.
No.
Well, not anything.
No.
Threshold.
I managed a singer for a while who was inspired by Dolly Parton, so I think you can guess how she looked. It's not my thing. I'm for all natural.
We'll keep that in mind. But you called us here to talk about your Science Apologetics. So
yeah,
tell us about that.
Deaf mute quadriplegic women. I mean,
yeah, Tim.
Yeah.
What topics did you want to touch on? Because we're having the conversation.
I'm kind of at a loss right now because I've been doing these hangouts or whatever and trying to you know what, I do want to, if anybody is listening to this and watching it, the quiet atheist John Gonzalez, he needs help. He's in danger of losing his house, and if anybody can donate even $1 or something like that to him, it's paypal.me/thequietatheist, all one word. It's go to Godless Geezer's channel, and he's got a video that explains this whole situation there. And if somebody can do that for him, that'd be appreciated. Otherwise, the topics it's open really for whatever we want to talk about here.
I think it was I think it's funny that we started. Or wait, no. So we were talking about the dinosaur soft tissue earlier. You mentioned that was one of the claims you were in a fight with a creationist, and that was something she brought up.
Yeah, trying to say that it was actual soft tissue or whatever, and that there was DNA and all that was with it. Kind of conflating that it's, instead of saying cells, it was like cell-like structures is what, and how she turned that and twisted it to whatever, into making it sound like I said, like you made an incision in the leg, and you had to put clamps on there to keep the blood from squirting out of there.
Yeah, it's just I do believe they are physically incapable. The creationists and intelligent design advocates are physically incapable of representing Mary Schweitzer's research.
It's
pathetic. And I know that annoys her to no end because she is Christian. And so she says it just annoys her that, her research is subject to this by other religious people. And so it's understandable. Her frustration is understandable.
Yeah. And the fact that they are constantly telling people that she was shunned by the scientific community, and she can't get any work, where she's still working in the same area that she has been. And
well, I mean, that's the whole thing that really bothers me too, is the sciencey apologetics, for lack of a better term. I mean, they try and use that to do this little wedge or shoehorn in there to prove the evolution wrong. And they hurt a lot of people doing that are actually out there spending their whole lives, devoting their whole lives to the discipline that they're in. And it's to me, I'm just a layman, but it kind of pisses me off a little bit. So there you have it. That's why 7 months with her in comment threads, people.
Yeah, but what I don't get is that if you make any sort of comment in the US, the lawyers are coming at you from every direction, and when this stuff happens, they can lie as much as they want and not a lawyer in sight. And that's what I don't get. How come that's not happening?
Oh,
Beach Price is in the chat. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I guess. Oh yeah. Hey, VJ. I mean, what they're saying, I guess, doesn't have any legal ramifications. But you're right. Lawyers jump on pretty much everything. So, but this is just. It's not slander or anything like that, because they're talking about themselves, and they're making up stuff about scientific research. So it's just their opinion. It's just your opinion, man.
My interpretation.
My interpretation of the facts. We all have the same facts. We're just drawing different interpretations. That annoys me to no end, because it's just flat wrong.
I don't get it. But it's not only in creationism. I don't know if you watched the video of Seth Andrews where he touches on everything that's copied by Christians, and even logos, Coca-Cola logos, and everything is copied, and no lawyer. But I don't get it. They discredit people like Mary Schweitzer, and I think that's it could possibly hurt her income at some point if that keeps up, and that's what I don't get.
I don't think it should. I don't think her income should be hurt by it, but it's just it. But it's at some point, one of the creationist guys, cursorily read her paper on it and decided this is the evidence we need, to prove that the Earth is young. And everyone else just thought, yep, he's right. We're not going to read the paper ourselves. We don't care. We don't have the technical know-how to do so. Which is really all they do. They're just daisy chaining each other, as RJ says.
Yeah.
And nobody's reading the papers. It's just one person who might have maybe looked at it. Maybe.
They usually look at the title and go from there and make their own story fit the title, I guess.
Hey, we can do that with Todd Wood's paper that I mentioned in my last video. So
yeah, I think we should get out more that Todd Wood has this blog, but I think people should read that. We should get that out to the creationists.
Yeah, not just Todd Wood, but Andrew Snelling also, and Kurt Wise, all these guys who understand Andrew Snelling writes papers for like reputable geology groups on these sites that are billions of years old, and he says, "Oh, this site is 3.5 billion years old," and then the next day he goes to work for Answers in Genesis and says, "Oh no, this is 4,000 years old. It was created during the flood." Blah blah blah.
But Andrew Snelling isn't he a physicist or what?
No, he's a geologist.
A geologist.
Yeah.
I think I just saw a video of him explaining evolution. So how come a geologist? Oh, wait a minute, creation scientist.
Yeah, PhD geology. Yeah, so he is a reputable, or he is a real PhD, a reputable, or publishes reputable papers, and then still works for Answers in Genesis on the side. I just don't understand the compartmentalization going on in his head.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked P.Z. Myers about Georgia Purdom, because she also has a PhD, and she has one in molecular biology, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So, genetics, I think, something like that.
Yeah, and there the topic of evolution doesn't come up if you're getting your PhD. That's something that I'll never get.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting process. As long as you focus on this one little teeny narrow area, you get your degree. Now you can go do whatever you want. But it's kind of crazy to think about. It's kind of wild.
But part of the reason that I use my name Drivebye is because it's sort of on the same lines as RJ is using Tortugan.
Mm-hmm.
People have a drive-by. It's like, I didn't really. The confirmation bias is kind of what I'm sort of metaphoring on that.
Yeah.
It seems like we all do it. We all do it. We all have a confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a human mind is an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think at least most of us try to mitigate it, though. In most cases, creationists are very proud to not do that.
they really try to. They do contortions to try and keep their belief.
Yeah, and just every scientific subject, every single one, and I think I commend Answers in Genesis though, because they're all about science, or bad science, but science nonetheless, and they actually made a page for arguments we should not use, which good on them. More people should have, or more creationist sites should have pages like that. One of them is if we're descended from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Another one is, does thermodynamics disprove evolution? And there are a few others, and it's really funny because Kent Hovind actually went to that page and quote debunked all of those arguments. He went and said, no, these are good arguments to use.
Yeah, but Kent Hovind is still on pretty much everything that he had before he went to jail. He's gained no new knowledge at all, and and I don't think that he's even interested in gaining more knowledge. Although they're trying to redo his entire seminar, so I'm curious what will change in that, because when you watch his videos on his channel, nothing has changed. He's gained nothing.
Yeah,
What bums me out a little bit is seeing some. Cause I just saw, I think it was today, an aerial shot of Joel Osteen's mansion that he's got. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. And he opened his church up for helping some people out that were hit by the storm or whatever. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Or make a donation.
sending thoughts and prayers and good vibes and all of that. I hope you guys doing well out there. I know I am from my giant mansion on top of the hill.
Oh man.
But I had some questions, Jackson, about the fossil convention you went with Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
That creation booth. What did they do? Did they just sell books, or did they have anything else?
Yeah. So, let me think. Savannah, did they had books at the booth, right?
Which one?
The creationist booth.
Yeah, they were just giving them away.
Okay. So, I remember.
On display?
No, not the geology convention.
Oh yeah, she had 3 books.
Okay, so I remember they gave out papers. She gave us this paper that had like a list of quote creation scientists, just because these guys believed in creation, and like 90% of those scientists were like people who lived prior to Darwin. Ergo, they had no alternative, really. I mean, so it's like if I don't understand that argument. But yeah, most of those guys were creationists, and not even all of them on the list were actually creationists. Like Pasteur was not a creationist, but he was on the list anyways because screw research. But yeah, so I remember she gave us this paper, and then she gave us another paper that said write down 3 physicists who don't believe in evolution or Big Bang cosmology, write down 3 geologists, and then 3 biologists who don't believe in evolution or whatever. And so she also had 3 books. One was the updated and revised answers book by good old Ken Ham. One was a book by Paul Taylor, I think, is what RJ said his name was. It was the Great Dinosaur Mystery Explained. The Great Dinosaur Mystery Explained.
I'm sorry.
I think that was the name of it.
What, say that?
The book.
Which one?
The dinosaur book.
By Ken Ham.
No, by Paul Taylor, the other guy, the other book that was on the table.
Maybe like dinosaurs.
Okay, we're gonna assume that's the name of the book for now. Of the actual title, we will be assuming that is the name. And so this book, so it was, that book was like, it was pretty much entirely illustrated, and it was like dinosaurs in the Congo or the Loch Ness Monster prove that dinosaurs are still alive, so they didn't die off millions of years ago.
Because we all know that Mokele Mbembe is real,
I actually know. I work for a professor who has gone to the Congo several times.
Yeah, but he probably didn't see it because there's this conspiracy that wants to keep it a secret,
Yeah.
And I think your professor might be in on that.
Oh, yep,
Don't you think?
Definitely. They go and they collect like bats and murines, which are rats. But yeah, they have been to the Congo several times, and so conspiracy to hide the dinosaur.
You can get a lot of stuff a lot closer to home. And I can't remember his name. This guy from Mexico. He's also a Kent Hovind parrot. Have you seen him?
Is he the one who talks about the pterosaurs in Mexico?
Yes.
I've heard about it. I'm not up on who the person is, but I know about the pterosaurs, or quote pterosaurs from Mexico. He's
a chemist and a car mechanic.
Of course. Oh,
which
you talking about
I
John
thought,
Morris Pendleton or John Pendleton?
yeah, John Pendleton. Yeah,
There we go.
that's
Yeah,
him.
Logic did a series about him.
Yeah,
That wasn't John Morris Pendleton. John Morris was a creationist from like the 60s or whatever. What was his name? John
Pendleton.
Pendleton? John Pendleton, chemist.
Yes. And he came on the scene and he dropped off. I have no clue what he's doing now, but he made a couple of videos.
Oh, it is John Morris Pendleton. Okay. Yeah.
And he copied everything from Hovind, even his jokes, but he couldn't remember the jokes correctly, so he told them wrong. That's what I still remember. He's even more crazy than Hovind is. And he had actually had a guy visit him who had caught a pterosaur, but he was too big to bring back home, so they left it. And when they got back, scavengers had eaten it, so there was nothing left. And but he was going to go out and try and capture a pterosaur. And that, I think that was 10 years ago, and we never heard from him since.
Maybe he got taken by a pterosaur.
You ate him, didn't you, Peter?
Sorry?
You ate him, didn't you?
I think the pterosaurs ate him, maybe, because they were that big they could actually eat grown humans. So that's highly possible that the pterosaurs ate him. But
I'm sure you guys have also heard about the dinosaurs in the Bible, ergo the behemoth and the Leviathan. That was there. They were in the book also.
Yeah, because having a tail like a cedar, which means in Hebrew means that they had a tail like a cedar branch they used to swat flies with.
Sounds a lot less like a giant sauropod, more like an elephant at that point.
Yeah, and that's what it meant, and everybody knows that. But if you can just add the word tree to it, a cedar tree, then you've got a completely different animal, and you've got one that looks a little bit like me.
Yeah, it was also Answers in Genesis, because her booth was called Dinosaurs and Dragons in the Bible, which because Answers in Genesis does the thing they say, like guys in history who have claimed to like fought dragons, they were actually fighting, dinosaurs.
Aaron Ra actually did a really good video on that one time, kind of explaining the.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
I remember watching that one time. I was like, yeah, see.
Aaron found the explanation where the fire-breathing dragon came from, because the dragons they fought were just big lizards, and when they told it's just like when you talk to a fisherman, and he catches a small fish. By the time he gets home, the fish is I guess 6 foot long, and so the same thing happened with those dragons. They got bigger and bigger as closer as they got home. So when they got home, they were gigantic lizards, but they had forked tongues, and so they had paintings made of those lizards, and they started out having forked tongues, and then artists, the painters, just thought, hey, it's cool, but if we make the tongue even more forked, it would be a lot more scarier. So they kept adding more forks to the tongues, and that ended up looking like flames. So that's where the fire-breathing dragon came from. But we also have a creationist in the UK who has an explanation for that. and that's because and now I can get into a question that was asked in the chat earlier. I'm not sure who asked it. I can scroll back a little. I thought it was Beach asking it. I'm not sure about the yeah. BJ Price was asking about the ice canopy. Well, the ice canopy was something that covered the entire flat Earth from the time from creation, because God separated the waters
above,
above from the waters below, and so and the waters above there was this canopy, and because we had this canopy, and that was, of course, water freezes when you go up that high, so it turns into ice, and and when it turns into ice, it gets heavier. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Jackson? That ice is heavier than water? Because here in Holland, it's lighter. It floats.
Yeah, ice should float, but they would never be able, or we would never be able to get a canopy made of ice. That the entire idea of having like a canopy.
But we're not God. God can do it.
Okay, fair. But actually, the actual, was it the Hebrew for like firmament is it's like rakia, I think, or something like that, and it means like to flatten out metal, and so it was like a crystal dome, like a snow globe.
Yeah, but Kent Hovind explain. Kent, yeah. Did you call me? Johnny dropped off.
Oh, I'm here. Good. I'll be right back.
Okay.
What you were saying, Peter?
Kent Hovind explained it, because it was actually an ice canopy, and because the weight of the ice, we got double the atmosphere on Earth. And because we had double the atmosphere, and we had a lot more oxygen in the air as well, so the dinosaurs could live quite easily, because they have you heard of Carl Baugh?
Unfortunately,
yes.
Unfortunately,
okay. Carl Baugh is the specialist of the hyperbaric chamber, where he replicates the environment, the pre-flood environment, which has double the atmosphere and a lot more oxygen, and so that's when the dinosaurs could actually breathe. Because if you look closely, I have very tiny nostrils, and of course a velociraptor isn't that big, but the bigger dinosaurs also have these small nostrils, and the biggest ones have nostrils that are just as big as the nostrils of horses. So what happened after the flood? The canopy broke down, and so the pressure was less. We went back to the atmosphere we have now, and also we have a lot less oxygen. And so the dinosaurs were having trouble breathing. And because they had to breathe in a lot more, their nostrils caught fire. And that's where you didn't know this?
That's
that's where the fire-breathing dragon came from. And that's why the dinosaurs died out, because they all caught fire trying to breathe post-flood, and they couldn't breathe. I'll have to look it up, because there's an entire series of this guy.
Should have had offspring with gills.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even surprised, because of the level of crazy that he talks.
Well, this guy has his own TV station in the UK, so there are stupid people in Europe as well. It's not only in
No.
the US. We might even have more silly people than you have. Because
Well, I don't know about that.
well, in Germany we have a creation museum that is made up of Legos, Playmobil figures, and ice cream sticks.
Nice.
Yeah, this guy built an entire ark out of ice cream sticks, and he built a Mount Ararat out of Legos, and he has that all in a back room, and that's the German Creation Museum. It's very, very sad. He took everything offline. He had a couple of videos on YouTube where he showed everything that he had. It was basically it looked like a children's playroom, I guess. But he was very serious. He gave lectures all over Germany on creationism. So yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we have another question in the chat. They want us to explain why there were no rainbows pre-flood. So
Well,
that's quite easy because it didn't rain
ever
before the flood.
Well, I was talking with, it's like, this is something I talk about with RJ. We discuss the biogeography and the geology of a pre-flood and post-flood world. And if you ask the creationists, what did that look like? They have absolutely no idea what that looked like. They're more or less making it up as they go along, it seems. And they just have no data anywhere to support any of their claims regarding this. It's just insane.
But data, that's a dirty word when you're a creationist. that's not a word that's used in creationism, data.
Yeah.
Because and you know why?
Why is that?
Do a search. The word data isn't mentioned in the Bible.
Is he an android? Next generation Star Trek?
No.
Yeah, I guess so. He's the guy with I think with the same color eyes that I have. Am I correct?
Yeah, he's pretty logical. He makes Spock look like an emotional guy.
Yeah, well then he doesn't look like me anymore because I'm not that logical. I can be quite illogical at times. So, but yeah, no, the rainbow only came after the flood because that was God's sign, of course, that He would never flood the earth. I wonder if someone told the people in Austin this because I'm pretty sure, and in Mumbai at the moment, and what's the other flood we're having at the moment? We're having floods worldwide.
Darn this! Bunch of gay leaders in the world causing this floods.
Yeah, couldn't be climate change, could it?
Impossible.
Okay.
Like, that is less plausible than what I am proposing.
Oh, you guys there?
Yeah, beach. You're not helping me. India has one. I had India, Mumbai, but there was another one. I think somewhere in Africa there's a flood as well. I think it's a little sad because the one in India cost, I think, over 1,200 lives by now, and millions of people are homeless and they don't get any attention. And they were trying to raise funds here in Holland, and even that didn't work. So yeah, it's not things are not equal in the world, I guess.
No, not at all.
But yeah, So, but you never heard about the fact that it didn't rain pre-flood, Jackson?
No, I haven't. I would be very intrigued to ask them. Like before then, were there no waterfalls where you could just see a rainbow on a bright sunny day?
They didn't have sprinklers.
They didn't have sprinklers.
Well,
That's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, well, okay, well, they wouldn't have had. I was thinking sprinklers first, but I thought, well, maybe not sprinklers, but waterfall works.
I'll have to say in Israel, I don't think they have waterfalls. Oh, Beach looked it up. India, Nepal, and Bangladesh are flooded at the moment. Thanks, Beach.
Thank you. You know what? You know, as God said, He wouldn't. He gave us the rainbow as a promise. He would never flood the world again, except New Orleans and the Philippines. But
Yeah, I just blame Ken Ham. Since he started lighting up that arc in the rainbow colors, we've got floods all over the place. I think he should use normal lighting again, because it's not working.
I think it's really funny that he gets so upset about the whole the gay thing. They're like, this is our rainbow. You can't have it.
What did
Yeah. It's just, if you I don't, maybe I'm the only one, but if you're watching Answers News, it's more and more becoming a children's show. And in the last one, Ken Ham also said that it was used for homeschooling. Yeah, because I don't think that adults would watch anymore. It's becoming more and more silly.
Yeah.
Did you catch the last one, the one that our friend Paul was in on, Jackson?
Most recent one.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me go to his videos and check it out.
Where
Oh,
Ken Ham-
pterodactyls and other living fossils.
Yeah, but they also touched on pets.
Oh yeah.
And now we know.
Oh,
Now
sorry.
we know that Ken Ham hates dogs and cats, both of them.
He's a parakeet guy himself.
No, his father hated pets, and it seems that Ken Ham has adopted the same thing. So dogs don't love you; they only want food, and cats are plotting to take over the world. So
Agreement. I mean, total agreement there. We're on the same page.
cats. Yeah, well, you've got a cat around your neck. She's trying to take something over, I guess.
That was, yeah, trying to take over my. What was it? Oh, that was that picture. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I used to do that with Enzo. Now when I'm sitting up against my bed, he'll come over and sit on my shoulders. So he does it himself now.
He's kind of used to it.
He's like, all right, let's get it over with.
Well, that wouldn't work for me. I have a bull terrier, and he's a little bit too heavy to carry around on your neck. Oh dear. We have a question. We have a question in the chat. I'm going to pitch to you, Jackson.
I won't know the answer. Trust me, I don't know the answer. I have never looked that up.
So you saw it.
Any other questions? Cough, cough. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's, dinosaurs may not be mentioned in the Bible, but we can shoehorn our understanding of them into the Bible. So.
Yeah, but you didn't see the actual question he
No,
asked?
no, I saw it. I see it. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the chat is going to disappear for the people who are watching this later.
Yeah.
We have. I'll tell who it is as well. We have Deconverted Man, who wants to know how large dinosaur penises are, because it isn't mentioned in the Bible. Yeah, your question got noticed. I bet when I called your name out, maybe you'll get noticed. People will ask you, why do you want to know how? that's something that I've never thought about. I just realized.
Huh? I think that's. I think Veej asked an interesting question. Is why can't they shoehorn Denisovans and Neanderthals into the Bible? As I don't know how they treat Denisovans, but I know Kent Hovind thinks Neanderthals singular. It was just one. It was an old man with rickets.
Yeah,
That's what he
Yeah.
thinks. I don't think he knows what
Either that
Denisovans
or
are.
fossils in the ground.
yeah, and he explained why they have bigger what are they called, brow
Oh yeah,
bones?
foreheads. Yeah, the brow bones. Yeah.
Yeah, because there are muscles attached to it, and because and when they grow older, the attachments seem to grow. They don't stop growing. I'm not sure how he put it.
So like a
Bill-
T-Rex then. Are their hands proportionate to their appendage?
Probably not.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know.
Oh, I asked. I had a brief conversation with Kent Hovind before I went on with him on his show, and I asked him about his thoughts on anthropology, if I remember correctly, and he said something like most of the human fossils were like, you know, just hoaxes or whatever, even though for Neanderthals alone we have over 400 women or men, women, and children. So it's a little hard for that to be a hoax. You know, I don't know how many Denisovans we have, but there's a new species or a new subspecies, whatever you want to call it, that has been inferred to have existed in that is inferred to have interbred with the Melanesians, and so we don't even know really all that much about this new subspecies. And so it's just we just keep finding this stuff, and they just kind of have to keep shoving it over to the side, like, oh, you know, who cares about that stuff? We don't need it.
Yeah,
Not important.
That's what baffled me. What Bill Ludlow had quite a setup when he did his debate with Hovind. Did you catch that one?
Oh, Bill Ludlow? Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he had I think the complete human lineage lined up. He had great slides to show all of the evidence that we have, and Kent Hovind just didn't acknowledge any of it.
Yeah, I saw. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Kent Hovind, he should walk more carefully, I think, after he got so totally destroyed by both Bill and King Crocoduck.
Yeah. In when I think it was the first or the second debate that he did with King Crocoduck, his own fans came in the comments that he should give it up because this guy was slaughtering him, and he should stick to what he knew and not even try to refute what King Crocoduck was telling him, because he had nothing to bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
they did three debates now.
Yeah, they did 3. What I think made part of it work was that they had timed talking periods. I think that's what made it so well, because you could see what we actually have versus what Hovind thinks we have. And you could just see the total disconnect between science and Hovind's world.
Yeah. And still people are following him. Still people are believing him, and that's what I don't get. I mean, some are really sincere and I don't have a clue how that can happen to a human being. Believing stuff that's so easy to find out if it's correct, yes or no. And that's where I blame it on religion, because in religion you go to church and you listen to the guy who's preaching, and that's the guy you have to believe, and that's it. No one bothers to read the Bible themselves, so you pretty much believe what the guy talking in church has to say, and that's it. And when you have the same when a guy's talking science, I guess that pretty much does it. But I don't get it. That people don't try and find out if it's actually true, yes or no.
Well, who needs to find out? I mean, yeah, I heard it from this very reliable source, so ergo it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think David Attenborough laid into the creationists a little while back, saying, you know, we shouldn't just accept things we learn on you know, at our parents, like, or that we learn what our parents told us. I don't remember the exact phrase he used, but I thought, you know, that's right.
Yeah, well, and there's the other thing. They want to have creationism taught in schools, and to have children in schools try to figure it out for themselves what is true.
Don't even get me started.
If even the parents can do that, so what makes you think that kids will do it?
Yeah, no. I, as a college student, I have seen the state of our high school education with regards to biology in the South here, and it is dismal, and or in a lot of places here it's dismal because we have laws that make it easy for creationism and intelligent design to be taught, like the science education law back in 2008. But yeah, no, most of them don't have the capacity. Most of the students don't have the capacity to reason for themselves what is true. What they're going to do is they're going to go ask their parents, who likely, as you said, Peter, also don't know what is true. They're getting it from secondary sources, and they're just running with it. They have zero idea what the data is, or perhaps what the data are, or anything like that. They just don't know, and so they can't decide for themselves what is true, whether or not evolution is true. They just don't have the education. And same in college. A lot of these guys don't have the education to decide this for themselves. And you have we have arguments with people who claim to have looked at the data, and you realize, well, no, you haven't looked at the data. You are reading these sources from other people who also haven't looked at the data. It's dismal.
Yeah.
But doesn't that come from like I said, from religion, where you just have to trust the guy who says he knows it all, and just stick with that? Because when I was I think around 11 was when the first time I got to the Museum of Natural History, and I got hooked, and I kept nagging my parents that I wanted to go there. So that was my first trip alone across town, and I was there, I think, every Saturday. I bought a season ticket where I could get in whenever I wanted to and could stay as long as I wanted to, because I thought it was fascinating. And that's what I don't get. I talked to Steve recently. I don't know if you caught my chat with him. I talked with him on Twitter, and the talk that I did with him, the first talk, actually got lost because the recording software gave up on me.
Yeah, I saw part of your conversation with him. We similarly talked about faith healing, which no.
Yeah, but he has this video on his Twitter feed of an African guy who can raise people from the dead, and he actually believes that that's possible. And that's what I don't get, because that's a scam that you can actually test for. And he offered today. He offered me, come to a church and let's see that happen. And I said, great, I'll come to a church with you, and I'll bring a patient, and you can have her healed, and I'll make sure that the doctor comes along with us, because that wouldn't be a problem. I think that I could find a doctor here in Holland who would like to see someone get healed in a church.
Or in a hospital, come to a hospital so the doctors can observe.
No, that
this
doesn't
healing.
work. No, that doesn't work, because the healers were called by the people who were sick, and they went over to their house to heal them.
How convenient.
Because it doesn't seem to work in hospitals.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Oh, my powers have left me. They have forsaken me.
Yeah, but
I can't heal anyone anymore.
How gullible can you get? I mean, there's this guy who can raise people from the dead. Yes, he's in Africa, but he can raise people from the dead. Yeah, people in Africa don't have any education, and they can be fooled by everything. Have you seen the African preacher that has his flock running around outside and eating grass? Don't have any education.
No.
Have you seen the African preacher?
Johnny, we hear there's an
echo.
Sorry.
No, I haven't seen that. You'll have to tell me about it.
This is African preacher who actually has his entire congregation outside eating grass, because the Holy Spirit says it's time to eat, and there's nice food outside, and go outside and eat grass.
Oh, I like what Deconverted Man says. I can turn invisible, but only when no one is looking or around. I like that analogy.
I can turn into a dinosaur when everybody's looking. and that's not the only thing that I can do. Let me see. Tell me, Jackson, are dinosaurs still alive?
Yes.
Yes. They are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what do we call them today?
We call them avians, or more colloquially, birds.
Aha. Okay. So, see, and now I'm a different kind of dinosaur. I'm a living dinosaur now.
Careful, you might get sued.
What do you think?
Copyright.
What do you mean?
The living
for the living dinosaur. No, what I am a living, not the living dinosaur. I'm living dinosaur. So, you see, it can happen. I can be pretty much whoever I want, because I'm getting tired a little bit holding up my tail. So, any suggestions what I should be next? Do we have an animal that we haven't covered yet in Crete? An elephant. I can't become an elephant. I'm not heavy enough.
Oh, what are our options?
Well, we could go to another biblical figure.
Okay.
The dragon.
Oh my.
Wouldn't that work? I don't like the colors, by the way. I'll have a little bit lighter.
Beach says
more.
unicorns.
Nope, can't do unicorns.
The unicorn is based on the rhinoceros, Diceras unicornis.
Yeah, but aren't there rhinos? What's the plural of rhinoceros, by the way? Rhinoceroses or rhinoceri?
I've always seen rhinoceroses.
Okay, but most have two horns, don't they?
Depends. I think Sumatran rhinos only have one horn. For the most part. I don't know. Are there any other rhinos that are still in existence? There's like some species of like white rhino or something that went extinct last year, I think.
Yeah, there was one that was guarded, I think, till the very end, until it passed on.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Black rhinos have two horns. See, white rhinos have two horns. The Indian and Javan and Sumatran rhinos have one horn, I think.
Okay.
So five species.
Deconverted man is on a roll, I think, with his questions. Do you want to take another question, Jackson?
I have no way to answer any of these. What is a? I don't know, BJ. What is that? I don't know what that means. I'll have to look that up. Let me see. The scar of a healed wound. Interesting. A cicatrix? The scar of a healed wound is what Beej asked. Oh, he actually found an answer. Oh. Huh.
Why are people in the chat talking about penises? That's what I want to know now.
Darn atheists with the immoral, don't have a moral barometer, as Steve Harvey says.
They're up to 12-foot long penises now?
No, I'm pretty sure that should be inches. It should be inches, not
no.
feet.
12 feet, up to 12 feet long. 15-foot crocodiles have 4-inch members. 40-foot long tyrannosaurs may have had a 10-inch penis. Okay. I have no clue what we should do with this information. It's at least it's a topic that that's not that common, I think.
Oh yeah, I think Deconverted Man says the faith healers cannot heal scars or restore missing teeth. Yeah, true. They can't regrow. They can't help you. Oh, okay. They can't help you regrow limbs either. It seems. It's only.
No.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's.
And that's
this thing you can't see. Do what, Peter?
What I don't get is they get this from the Book of Acts, if I'm correct. Oh dear, my dino froze. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Can you hear me? Okay,
I can't hear
my dino.
Johnny, you still there?
Okay, I'm back. No, isn't that in the Book of Acts where we're talking in tongues, speaking in tongues, and resisting poison? I'm not quite sure, but isn't that in the Book of Acts?
I don't know. I haven't read that.
You haven't read your Bible, Jackson?
You know, as someone who has been more focused on science and religion, I have made less of an effort. I did read part of the Book of Mormon. I've read some of the Bible. I've read several books of the Bible, but we also read the Book of Mormon because there are lots of we lost Johnny. Lots of Mormons down here who proselytize on campus, and so those guys are kind of funny because they have some really wacky beliefs. You know about the Mormons?
Yeah, not that much, I have to admit, because we don't have a lot of those around here.
Oh well, lucky you.
Well, I do adhere a little bit to the Mormons, I guess, with my current situation at home.
Oh, well, the Mormons think that there was a group of Hebrews like 600 AD who decided to come to North America, or sorry, not 600 AD, or was it? No, I think it was 600 BC. Either one. Either way, we didn't know that North America existed at the time. And was it BC, Savannah?
I'm sorry.
Mormons, they came to North America 600 BC or AD? It was BC, wasn't it?
They weren't they the lost Hebrew tribe?
Yeah. So what they did was they came to North America and they met with the Native Americans and they had all these adventures and whatnot. And so Jesus appeared to the Native Americans, which, I mean, that's, I guess you'd think, hey, this is the guy who wants to have a personal relationship, or the deity who wants to have a personal relationship with you, and he's over on the other side of the world, only in this one tiny specific area of the Middle East. So why wouldn't he go over to North America too to spread his message? Well, the reason is this is a story that has been pressed over history and has absolutely zero knowledge of the facts. It's just totally bogus from an anthropological perspective, from a historical perspective. It's just totally bogus. But I mean, the Native Americans don't talk about Jesus because Jesus was not a concept to them. There was no person who came and died on the Roman torture device for their sins. That was not a thing.
But isn't it funny that the Garden of Eden was in the U.S.? Don't they? Isn't that what the Mormons believe?
Yeah, I think I've heard about that. It's like in Kentucky or something.
They actually bought the land at some point where the Garden of Eden used to be, because that was the place that Jesus would come back to when he came back.
Or was it Utah? Maybe.
I don't remember. I think it was somewhere in Utah. I'm not sure either. What I do know is that the Mormon Church split up, and the guys who walked away from the church were the people who owned the land where the Garden of Eden used to be. So the Mormon Church lost that land to those who walked away from the church, which I found hilarious. Because if God exists, then he must have set this up at some point where the Garden of Eden would fall into the hands of those walking away from the church, because that would be the logical thing to do.
Oh, that's right. They moved to Utah, but it didn't start there. It started over in like New York or Pennsylvania. It was on the East Coast where it started, and then they moved over there later. But yeah, because
they had to, because they wanted to have more than one wife, and and when they kept being restricted in the number of women they could marry. They had to move further and further away. So that's what I gathered from the Mormons. Maybe I'm just telling crap now. I have no clue.
But I don't remember I mean, I think part of it was they were fleeing